Hey guys, I am PrimeRose and this is my channel. Someone is again impatient. So today we are going to do the Caldeirão Verde. It is a very known one, or at least it's one of the most famous levadas that we have here in Madeira. So we're going to do that one today. So it's about 6 to 7 kilometers to get there, and then you have to come back from the same path. The interesting thing is when you get here and you see like the board with the information, it says about 8.5 kilometers, but it's not correct. That is just one direction, and it is in direction of Caldeirão do Inferno. So that 8.5 kilometers, I think, I have to see it again. It's only in one direction, and it is to the one that is farthest away. So that means that this path takes like 6 kilometers. Would mean that you could do it in 2 hours, but it's not true. You do it in about 4 hours. You can find this levada in Santana, which is the place where you find also a lot of those Santana houses and very traditional type of houses. The city of Santana was first occupied around mid-16th century, mostly by people from Braga, from the north of Portugal. In fact, the locals are still nicknamed the Bragados. At the beginning of colonization, the lands were divided between nobles with land grants, and there was an obligation to clear and build houses for the people and the livestock. The iconic houses from Santana are what marks mostly this city, and also Madeira. They were greater in number in the old days, and were very characteristic in their triangle shape covered in straw. There's one thing that you have to be careful when doing this levada, which is the path is very uneven, and also especially at the end between the third tunnel and the Caldeirão Verde, you have to be very careful and put your weight in direction of the mountain and not on top of those lines that are there. You cannot imagine how many times I see people putting their lives at risk just to let other people pass. I still want to put my life on the line, you know? Taking everything into consideration, I think we're going to have a really nice day today. So let's do this. We start our hike in Queimadas, where you can find a picturesque cafe and a small lodge. We haven't even started walking and Sirius had already gathered fans. In 2011, the city of Santana received the distinction of Biosphere Reserve by UNESCO, recognizing the richness of an ecosystem where it seeks to reconcile the conservation of biodiversity and its sustainable use. The reserve includes not only the entire surface of the city, but also a marine component, which both present a great diversity of natural, environmental, and unique cultural values of not only local but also international interest. This levada is maintained as much as it can possibly be from the original construction of the 18th century. In fact, here you can see how the levadas were originally made. This levada was made in the 18th century and has been working for almost 3 centuries, almost left to the natural elements. That's why you can no longer walk the entire levada like the first builders did. This hike has 3 different panoramas throughout the entire time. You have this very autumn-like area at the beginning of the hike, which lasts for about 20 minutes. Then there is the more greeny panorama where you will be able to find more species belonging to Madeira, and then, almost at the end, you will be able to see this massive valley, and the Levada is basically hanging from a cliff. The folk would carve a linear path that would connect the water from the stream to the area where the water was needed. The Levada required to be wide enough for the water to pass through and also for the outer wall to be built. In this particular Levada, I would say that the Levada is about 40 centimeters wide, while the outer wall is about 35 centimeters wide. This outer wall was made with stone from the area. While the men were destroying the rocky walls to create a path for the water to pass through, part of the stones that came out of the mountain was used for the wall of the Levada. Since the knowledge of the use of cement only has evidence from the beginning of the 21st century, it is possible to believe that this Levada only had the use of stones as a watershed for water. Due to this, and also to the frequent use of the path, it is possible to observe in some segments of the Levada where the floor is wet due to the lack of tightness in the wall of the Levada. This Levada has 4 tunnels. The tunnels don't have the same length and height. Yes, height. The third tunnel has a segment where the distance between floor and roof might be around 1 to 1.2 meters apart. Between the third tunnel and the end of the hike, the path gets smaller. Not small enough that you can't walk, so don't worry. The problem is when there are other hikers coming in the other direction. Just a heads up, this is not a hike for people who are afraid of heights. Nowadays there are these handrails on the side to help you as a last resort for safety. But more often than not, there are too many people who rely their lives on these handrails when other hikers are passing by. Please, if you're doing this hike for the first time, put your weight against the rock and not the other way around. There are small areas where you can even put your feet on the other side of the Levada. When you get to the end of the hike, you will find this open area where, if you go a bit further, you'll be able to see the waterfall. We finally got to Caldeirão Verde. Caldeirão Verde is over here. So to come here and see the actual waterfall that is there, you go by your own risk. There's actually information, if you see it right here, there's information telling you not to go. So you shouldn't go, but we are going by our own risk to take some pictures, 1 to 2 minutes, and then we'll come back. Have you ever did this hike? If so, how was it for you? If you like this video, remember to smash that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed yet, please go ahead and do that so you can see the upcoming videos. I'll see you next time. Bye! Today we are going to do the 25, no,